All right, Rick's going to be joining us any second. He was on a call that was going a little bit long there, so he'll pop on from the car.
Well,
He's
maybe on a call with my agent with my client's agent.
putting in. You held Columbus, right? Did you hold Columbus this weekend? The
no.
opening? Oh no, okay.
No, I help with the Quail Circle.
Oh, Quailview. You did Quailview. Okay.
Quailview in Walnut Creek.
Yeah. All right. How you doing, Jason? Everything good?
It's fine.
Oh, that was convincing.
I've got a challenge to myself to get at least one in escrow every week. And this is the only week that I'm like, oh man, I don't have anything right now, but I have two offers out or three. One just got denied, two offers out, maybe. So that'll be one a week for the past, I don't know, while.
Nice.
At least one a week. That's my goal.
That's good.
And as much as, and how do you say your name? I'm sorry, Nagar?
Nagar.
Nagar, yes. As much as people are saying like, oh, you want to be a listing agent, it has its own skill set. So some people are actually really good at being buyer's agents. And that, I feel like some people say, oh, the goal is to get to a listing agent. And really a listing agent takes on a lot of cost unless you're on a team. So you have to do great marketing, you have to do great overhead, everything has to be done correctly with listings. So you do have to consider that. So in actuality, sometimes as the listing agent, I don't net as much money as the buyer's agent.
Really?
Yeah.
So you have to like calculate
That's
all that. So as much as people, and Selena, please correct me if I'm wrong here.
It's a lot. You have to have a lot of money up front. The overhead is a lot. You're talking about lock boxes and signage and paying for the photography and the marketing. I mean, there's a lot of expense on the front end and being a listing agent that, and what happens if you're like, oh, that's okay. I just get one listing at a time. Well, what happens if you do really great and you have to carry 5 all of a sudden at once? You're like, oh, hello, cutie. Welcome to real estate. I like to teach them young.
Opens my lock boxes. He's part of my marketing.
Yeah, he should be.
Works. Yeah.
You should be. That's something that a lot of folks don't really plan for is like, I've had people who are like, no problem. One listing at a time. I'm like, and then all of a sudden they take on 3 and they can't afford to take on 3. They don't have the money in the bank to like, okay, well, all of a sudden I've got to do drone shots and I've got to do, 3D tours. And it's a lot of money to carry a couple of listings. And like, for instance, in New York, the team I ran there, on average, we were carrying 45 at a time. You carry 45 active listings at a time. Let me tell you what that on $80,000 a month in operating expenses is what that looks like. Wow. $80,000 a month in operating.
A lot of people think like listings is the way to go. And I have a buyer's agent that he's like, oh yeah, no, I want to get to listings. That's my goal. And then I said, okay, sounds good. Let me break it down for you. So I spend roughly about $3,000 to $4,000 per listing.
Yeah.
Get my marketing to the level that people say, wow, Jason, your marketing's amazing. And I use it to maximize my own marketing. And I told him that, and he's like, oh, well, what about this? And how do we move this? And I'm like, no, this is how we do it as a team. Like, if you want to be on my team, it has to look like this. And normally, it's his best friend's mom. So I'm going to allow him to like take that listing on his own. But for a listing, there's that cost. And then there's also the negotiation side of listings. So he has to sell a property, how do I describe? He has to, that property will be listed on the contingent of them finding a replacement property. So he has to know how to communicate that because he doesn't want to scare away every buyer.
Right.
Every buyer is going to look at that and say, oh my gosh, I don't want to wait till they find a property. So we have to know how to talk to them and say, oh yeah, maybe we have identified a couple of properties, or we're looking to write an offer in the next few days. So that way they're like, okay, then I'll submit, because you want to get them to submit and get them an escrow. So there's just a lot of, as much as people say, oh, I want to be a listing agent,
There's
There's
a
a,
lot to it. Well, that
yeah,
yeah, people
Yeah.
don't know. I've
It
never had
costs-
a listing. I don't know. But why does it cost 3,000-4,000 each? Like in this market that multiple offers. So if you get a listing, you just put it on. I guess
Woo.
it's not hard. I
there
mean,
you
it's
go.
not.
That's why. So that's why I walk all over agents that say that.
Yeah, don't say I just put it on the MLS and
I will literally,
No.
when I go to a listing presentation and I talk to people, I say, here's me and here's all these other agents. All these other agents will just put it on MLS and say, oh, you'll get hundreds of offers. And
Yeah,
I tell them,
I would never list with them, ever.
Right.
never.
As a seller.
because our job is to maximize the amount of money. And what that means is maximize the amount of eyeballs are gonna be on that property.
Yeah.
So we wanna make sure to get as many eyes as possible. I get phone calls from people with other agents already under contract with other agents, and I push them back. I say, you know what, go talk to your agent and come up with a marketing strategy. Go talk to them. Well, Jason, how do I hire you? I say, I can't talk to you. You're officially in a contract with another agent. If you break out of that contract, if you both come to an agreement of getting out of that contract, then come talk to me and I'm ready to go. And our team, we are the best at what we do. And this is why. And I send them all the videos and I send them all the marketing that I do. But up until, and most of the time they've seen it on my Instagram, they've seen it on YouTube, they've seen it just like Rick, he does videos. Mine are a little bit more involved, but what you just said is why agents aren't surviving right
Yeah.
now.
Because they rely on other, is that why? I mean, because they.
No, because as the market's shifting, it's gonna take the agents that are used to working a little like that can separate themselves from everybody else. That's the easiest way. So we know.
Yeah. I mean, Nagar, there's a big difference. So listen, I mean, as a coach, Rick and I are both master coaches, right? We do try to push a lot of people towards becoming more of a listing agent whenever they start creating a team. We tell them not to work with buyers as much because you earn less per hour working with a buyer than you do with a seller. Because on average, when you work with a buyer, you're spending about 20 hours with them before you actually earn anything with them. And that's because you're showing homes and you're going through that whole process. Whereas with a seller, you are typically going on a listing appointment, getting it into a listing agreement, and then other people are showing the home and getting it into contract, right? So you're earning more per hour with a seller than you ever are with a buyer, which is why we start pushing people towards becoming a listing agent and hiring buyer's agents on their teams to handle the buyer leads that come off of your listing. That's why we move in that direction. They really are two different types of people too, right? People who really enjoy working with buyers and people who are oftentimes more analytical and work with sellers. So that's kind of where that goes that way. But Jason's absolutely right. Listings cost money, right? You have to have that overhead. And the last thing we ever want to do is say, even in this market, is why you just throw it on the MLS and it sells itself, right? And exactly what Jason just said, we never want to be that person ever. We never want to just say, oh, well, we just went and took pictures with our phone and we throw it on the MLS and it's going to sell no matter what. And that's never.
Not just that. Of course, people like Rick, like they might do video. I don't know what his way exactly, but you just said video. So of course, there are other ways probably agents do, like videos or flyers or even door to door. I'm sure there are other ways people do, right? Because they want to sell it. I mean, but my question was, why does it cost the listing agent so much more money up front? I can imagine all those signs and stuff, but then you have the signs, then you have,
yeah, but there's still photography. I mean, there's photography, there's videography, there's the 3D tours, there's the floor plans, there's aerial photos, all of that cost money outside of the signage and things like that. Most of us are doing Facebook boost and, all of these additional things all cost money. Every last one of them, it adds up.
Now sorry, go ahead.
I could break it down for you. So professional photography at the higher level around my area, which actually are you in the Sacramento area?
I'm in Walnut Creek, East Bay.
Oh, yes, I know.
More expensive.
So very, very expensive. So your high end, So here's my marketing my marketing strategy is I emulate a very well-known San Diego real estate agent, and he's like TV famous. So him and I, we've actually talked on the phone. Like I've talked to him and I have told him, I am copying most of your stuff. He uses this really high-end production company to do his videos. I use my local guys to do my videos, but my local guys are expensive. So photography, anywhere between $500 to $700. That's just photos.
Mhm.
Then there's the video that's anywhere between $700 to $2,000. Just that's video. And I do three different types of videos. And then there's postcards. Like I will get postcards in the neighborhood. Why? Because it helps me. And don't get me wrong, I've double-ended 3 deals because of that. Like the neighbor comes over, oh, I want my son to move over. Can you represent them? Yes, of course. Okay. So postcards. And then in my area, I'm right between San Luis and Santa Barbara. So I'm a little bit more affordable than Walnut Creek, than Sacramento, than Los Angeles. So what I do is I Facebook post that way. I boost everything. I do my marketing out to Walnut Creek. I do it to San Francisco. I do it to all of that. I get offers for my Lompoc listings that isn't a high-end area. That's actually like my local people are like, I don't want to live in Lompoc, but I advertise it as 5 minutes from the beach, 10 minutes from the beach, gated community, all of that. And then Los Angeles people come over and boom, they're offering way over asking. So I use that story when I go to a listing presentation and I say, hey, this is what separates us from all the other agents, is my marketing is way up here.
Mhm.
How I do it. I advertise for all of these areas, and yes, it costs me money, but I'm here to maximize I want to maximize the amount of eyeballs. So that's why it costs money. So then we're boosting post, roughly about $100 per boost, and that lasts about 3 days. And then we do it again, and then we do it again, and then we do it again. And then again, it's helping you grow your business because more eyes are looking at you as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
And yes, our signage, we already have that. I already have the lock boxes. That's all set.
Front end, yeah.
But now there's the marketing per, and Selena does this really good breakdown in this, I think it's called AMP,
Yeah.
which whatever. Like each listing should have a breakdown in an Excel sheet to know how much you spent, just in case a client does reach out to you and says, you're not working on my listing. And then you can say, well, here's a breakdown and I spent like $4 grand on your listing. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. What have you been doing? Oh, this. And this is why we need to do a price drop. Because I kind of told you in the very beginning, this is a really high price.
So in other words, yeah, you're like you're dealing with the with the buyer or buyers, sellers directly. Whereas buyer's agent, you don't have to have all these obligations and
right. And
answers to
sellers
them.
sometimes cancel.
Yeah, they'll just cancel the listing.
And I had one that canceled on me. Fortunately, I got her back into it, but I was through $2 grand in that one,
Mhm.
and she canceled.
Yeah, if you don't make them happy, if you don't keep them happy, they cancel on you. And the other thing is, if it's not a good market, it can fall off and go back on off market, and then here are all your expenses and hard work just down the drain, so those
And
risks too.
And
Those
a
risks.
buyer is time.
Mhm.
There's
And your time and money.
So you look at it like that. So but there's skill
A
there.
lot of work, a lot of obligations.
On the buyer side, you have to calculate it out. And Selena's, it's very true. Some buyers agents, I have some buyer agents that are taking a lot of time. They're showing like 15 properties and
Yeah,
nothing.
that too. Yeah.
My skill is not that. It takes me about 1.5 properties to get them in contract. So
Mhm.
it's just, you have to look at where you're good.
Mhm.
I believe we have 5 in escrow and they're all buyers right now.
Mhm.
We have 3 listings coming up, but they're all buyers. And I don't mind being a buyer's agent. When people say,
You're
oh,
both. Mm.
you're working on being the best listing agent, I'm like,
How long have you been in business?
I started buying and selling real estate in 2001, but I just got my license maybe 3 years ago or 4 years ago.
Oh, 3
My
years
wife
ago.
is third generation real estate and development though.
Oh, okay.
family
And she
development.
works with you?
Yeah. We're a
Okay. As
yeah.
a team. That helps.
And they're
Yeah.
bringing on the little one too. The little
Yeah.
baby.
And we have
Oh,
a
the little one too. Yeah, of course. The family, the real estate
me.
family empire.
follow me on Instagram and you'll actually watch the whole thing. Her dad was a real estate, her grandpa was in real estate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're real estate development, so they built a lot
Okay.
of our area.
Okay. No, here I'm just by myself. I wish I had a team or a partner that helped me.
Well, it's got to
Yes,
start
it's-
somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We,
Yeah.
me and my wife were like, oh yeah, you know, one or two a year, we're fine. And then we realized like, oh man, we're ramping. And then she threw up the white flag and said, we're too busy, I need help. And that's why we had to build a team.
Right.
It's got to start somewhere, you know, that's the key is like getting, you know, normally we start to see where, and Jason can speak to that too, right? You start getting a little bit busy and then you start realizing you need an admin or you need administrative support. And now it's changed so much over the years, right? You now have virtual assistants or you can have someone who just does your transaction work and that can give you a lot of support. You know, and I love that there's so much out there now that there didn't used to be where transaction coordinators can just do it per transaction, right? Which is such a huge, wonderful thing. Oh, here comes Debbie Pelham. Hang on. Speaking of transaction coordinators, and Debbie does a lot of this too. Debbie, hang on, she's still connecting to audio. Let me let her. Debbie, we were just talking about transaction coordinators and then you arrived. It was incredible. It was like, I spoke you into existence. You're still muted. Hang on.
I think I saw her in one of the role play, right? Were you one of,
Maybe. She's been on a couple of calls.
or
Yeah.
some videos I saw her.
I was like, and then there's these wonderful transaction coordinators out there. And then it was like, and here comes Debbie Pelham. And I was like, how did that happen?
I got caught up doing my transaction coordinating. That's why I wasn't on the call in the beginning.
I know, and Rick's like still on a call doing something else, so he'll join in a second. He's like,
So Selena, so basically talking about team building and all that. So this call is about team building, right? So I want to ask you a question based on what we just talked about with Jason. So you know, since we're working as a team, obviously this business, I mean, EXP is about team building. In my case, you know, I told you, you know, I've never done this thing and I wanted and so is it okay? Is it possible for you guys to lead me to where, like, take my hand and say, no, you got to do, let's do buyers. Let's become good in buyers agent as a buyer's agent first, you know, and really, so I can only focus on that. You know what I mean? And then, oh, okay, yeah, you passed your test. This is good. Now we feel confident in you to go after, and you have enough capital to go after listing. I mean, I don't mind being led like that, you know, being guided.
Listen, I'll tell you how I've done it in the past. So, and there's no right way and there's no wrong way. Okay, really, there isn't. In the past, on teams I have run, and I'm talking about a real estate team, not, and when we talk about EXP, people will sometimes use the term teams, and when they talk about an organization, right? And there's an organization in EXP, meaning like what you came into with Rick and with Rosie, and that's an organization. A real estate team means that you've joined in with a team leader who's running their real estate team, their sales team. Like Jason has a real estate sales team that he is the team leader, and he has agents, buyers agents,
Right.
and
It doesn't have to be downline or upline.
right, doesn't have to be that, right?
Right.
Rick has the same thing. He has agents on his real estate sales team that are different. In New York, I used to run one, and I'll tell you how we did it there. And Rick, we've been doing this with his real estate sales team as well. We only allowed people to come in as a buyer's agent first. They could not be a listing agent. And there was a reason for that. When they were newly licensed or coming into the team, we gave them that opportunity as a buyer's agent to just, we received far more buyer leads coming into our team than we did listing leads, right? Like 5, 6, 7 times more buyer leads coming into the team than we did listing leads. So it was more opportunity to get them out there, get them experience working with buyers. And it meant just a lot more exposure, right? Getting out there, showing homes, dealing with clients on a regular basis. So that was the best opportunity to just get them into the mix of real estate faster, right? So that was the best way for us to get them really acclimated to real estate. So it meant get them out there, showing houses, getting accustomed to that, then putting in offers, then immediately having to do inspections and like really just getting a lot of exposure to the real estate world really, really fast. And they would have to do that for a pretty long period of time before we would ever even let them consider being a listing agent. And it's just because you're really getting a lot more of that. Listing leads were fewer and far between, and it's a really different animal, right? So if I was going to say it, I would say try to just get as much exposure on the buy side as possible, because you're going to get more opportunity there. You can hold open houses. Most people gravitate on this, and this is an overgeneralization, but I'm going to say it. They gravitate more towards wanting to be out there with people and showing houses. Most people get into real estate because they like people.
You're right.
I'm not a super fan of people most of the time. Debbie laughs. I do love people. I'm just not like one of those people that like, I don't have a really super duper outgoing personality. So I get like around people for long periods of time. I can show buyers for like exactly one day and then I'm like, I'm out.
Well, you have other skills.
Yes. I lean more towards the listing side because I'm super analytical in nature. So that's more my jam. So if I was to say it, at Workman, we have 4 programs that we teach. Jason mentioned one earlier that we just got done teaching, which was AMP, but we have BAM, Buyer Agent Mastery, SLAM, Seller Listing Agent Mastery, AMP, which I just taught, which was Administrative Mastery Program, and RAMP, which we're teaching right now, Rising Agent Mastery. We always ask people to take BAM first before they take SLAM, Buyer Agent Mastery, because we want them to be learning to be a buyer's agent first. Again, the primary reason is most people know more people wanting to buy than they do list. It's just tends to be more buy. Look what's happening right now. Loads of buyers in the marketplace. People who want to list. That's just generally what's happening out there. Everybody's like, need to buy. We had an open house this weekend. 66 buyers came through. It was one listing. So it's easier to kind of get into the swing of things, knowing that the likelihood of getting a buyer lead is going to be higher than a listing lead. So if you're going to start, that would be the place to start. Like getting into the mindset of I'm going to handle as many buyers as possible.
Right. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, and I want to be really good at it. And when I can feel it when I'm very confident, and then I know my time is up for that, and I can now go to the next, and then eventually be able to do both.
That's
or
great.
stick to the other one. Yeah,
Yes.
I feel like I still have a lot to learn for buyer side too. And
Great question. That's a
Yeah.
great question. Jason and Debbie. Okay, on team building, what do we want to focus? We've got 20 minutes left on today. Debbie? You're muted. Okay.
Focus. I don't know.
For me, kind of torn here. So of course wanted to attract more agents, but I'm really realizing that I might need to slow down that completely and just like back it off and bring on the right agents, of course, as always. But I'm looking at hiring an admin. I feel like that's our next step. Is we don't have an admin. My wife handles everything. She has a TC, and then we have like a virtual aid or whatever, virtual assistant.
Okay.
But I think we need an admin, somebody just here.
Okay.
We're considering giving them like a salary of anywhere between 3,000 to 4,000 a month.
Okay.
Plus bonuses. And
Okay.
that's kind of where I'm torn is, should we offer them, 5%, 10%, 10% bonus plus $4,000 a month? They're going to be making, I mean, this is for this month for us, me and my wife, we're probably at like 50,000. So if they get 10% of that, they're going to make 10 grand.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Pause. Okay, let's make sure it's something sustainable. First of all, tell me what this admin's going to be doing.
Heck if I know. I really mean that.
Everything.
And that's what, well, we know. I understand what you mean by everything, and yes, of course, but
That's a 6-figure income per month, and that's gotta do a lot.
I would hope so, but no, but they can't be me. I realize people can, I thought I could hire me, and they can't be me.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds egotistical, but like,
They're never going to be you.
it's just like somebody can't be Selena, somebody can't be Rick. Somebody doesn't have the certain drive that, me and my wife, we were at dinner for Mother's Day, and I'm answering phone calls from buyers and sellers. Like, I'm answering phone calls, and that's okay. Like, I looked at it and I went like this, and she's like, yeah, answer it. No problem. None whatsoever. At 9:45, I am returning text messages last night to buyers and sellers. This morning at 6:40, I was returning an agent phone call. Well, or they called me because they didn't answer my phone call at 8:50 last night. And it was something that was about to fall apart. But they wanted to call me at 6:45, and I answered, even though I should have been like, bastard, you didn't answer me. I should not answer you. But that's okay. I did it. I'm awake anyway. All to say is, there's a lot of people that don't have that, and that's okay. I'm not saying that everybody should be like that, but we do, and this is why we're successful. Like, so my admin, I can't tell them to be like me.
Nope.
And I can't expect that. So I need them to do Canva stuff. I need them to do, I don't know what I need them to do. I need them to do stuff that I don't want to do, like follow a boss, and they could do, like, I'm setting up drip text messages for holidays right now that I shouldn't be doing.
Nope. Okay, well, first step is start the list. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah. No, and I know that that's a
But
thing.
tell me what the bonus is for.
Because so I also consider bringing them way down to like 2 to 3 grand a month, and only
Plus bonus.
and then plus the bonus
But what's the bonus for?
for that they have an incentive that I am successful, that me and my wife are successful.
Yeah, well, first of all, yes, good question, Debbie.
And so here's my bonus tier. I will give them a lower bonus if they're not licensed, and I will give them a higher bonus if they are licensed.
Okay, first of all, don't hire anyone to be your assistant that's not licensed. Okay, this is a lesson learned, Jason.
Okay.
If they're going to be local to you and they're going to be not virtual, I just learned my lesson here. One, please get them licensed, because they're going to be able to answer questions.
Yeah.
that you want them to be able to answer.
So my question is, my pool gets so small.
No, it really doesn't, because you can hire them and still pay for them to get licensed.
Oh yeah, that's the plan. My
Okay.
plan is to say, I'm hiring you, you need to get licensed.
Yep. And by the way, another lesson learned,
Okay.
only pay for the class one time and put that in the contract. If they fail, you're only paying for the test one time. So lessons Selena has learned. If you pay for the class and they take too long to take it, you're not paying for the class a second time. These are things you put in the contract. If they
Put time boundaries on that. Yeah.
put time boundaries on it, how long they have to take the class and finish it. If they take the test and they fail it, you're not paying for a second retest. They have to pay for the retest. And the reason that you want them to be licensed is a couple of reasons. You want them to be able to answer all of the questions. You want them to be able to go open a freaking lockbox or a door for anybody to be able to get in, contractors, whatever. You want them to attend and open the door for an appraiser, whatever it is. There's just like a million reasons you want them to be licensed. The reason I'm stopping you on right now on the bonus, let me tell you why. you have to be very careful on this being sustainable over time, especially if this is really a startup position. Okay, I'm going to give you an example.
Sure.
I came on to the team in New York. There was someone who had been grandfathered in. She'd been with them for a long time, guys. Okay. And she was a transaction coordinator and totally amazing at her job. And when he hired her, and the team was small and maybe they weren't doing that many transactions, the bonus was reasonable. It seemed reasonable. And it was like 2.5% of GCI at the end of every month. Totally reasonable when you're closing a couple transactions every month. When you are closing 15, 16, 20, all of a sudden it is outpacing her actual salary and it becomes completely unsustainable over time, and she wouldn't renegotiate.
Right, because she had a contract locked in.
But it also starts to, like, in this position, you have to, what is she controlling that is making you more successful? So you have to tie it to, like, I'll give you an example. So I was team leader and sales manager of that team. So my bonuses made sense because I was in direct control of the agents being more productive, right? So I was in control of recruiting. I was in control of making sure that I was holding them accountable every day and getting them to 2 or 3 transactions a month. So the bonus structure made sense because it was my responsibility to keep them moving, right? So you want to make sure that if you're bonusing her, that she has some control over that, right? That you're not just bonusing because it's you doing all of the work.
What
Right.
about putting a cap?
Yes, and you could totally put in a cap. But what I'm saying is, like, it's, yes, him or her. Yes, sorry, not to be part. Yeah, I'm not trying to say female. It totally could be either way. And I've had an incredible male assistant, like incredible. So I just want to say that, like, bonuses are not bad, but I have had some that have been not monthly and instead quarterly, or instead just truly based on a moment in time or a project that was completed. But I do not believe in bonusing because for something that they didn't actually contribute to the actual,
Sure.
like, overall production.
That makes-
Also, what I'm kind of concerned with bonusing, especially from the beginning, is this is kind of a new position for you guys. So you're still going to be figuring out what all you want them to do. And like I put in the chat, things come up when they come up. Like, you don't, every real estate transaction is a little bit different. And so maybe you do need them when it gets busier to go open doors for a home inspector or an appraiser or whatever. Or maybe the listing agent, her Supra is not working, or his key isn't working, and you got to do this and that. And so as things happen, you're like, oh yeah, I need them to do this. Oh yeah, that just reminded me, I need them to do that. I mean, you can make your list and have the basics, but little things come up all the time. Like, are they going to do your office supply shopping? Are they going to do all of your marketing? Are they, having those processes for, like, whatever you're going to do for, like, your listings, like sending out the postcards, and what are those details? So there's, in this discovery phase, when you first get them as part of your staff, I definitely wouldn't do any bonusing because it's kind of the learning probationary period.
I would wait on the bonus and just talk about that. That could be like a year 2 conversation. And
work out.
Yeah. And, it can be certainly an and like this year, we're just talking salary, and then, maybe it's a Christmas bonus or, something like that you think about. And then if they're stellar and they're incredible, then you introduce it in year 2. And Jason, I've got to leave after this because I'm driving to Pleasant Hill with Casey and Rick, but I'm going to EXP shareholders this week. It's a crazy time. But I'm going to send you a sample agreement that shows all of the different things that someone in this position should be doing, just to make sure you're thinking about all the
Yeah,
things.
please send that. Yeah.
But it's very early to be thinking about an increased bonus structure for this position, just, and it's not me trying to shortchange someone in the position. It's just really early.
Well, and God bless you for the generosity.
Yes.
Seriously.
So me and my wife, and I think I brought this up, we only need to sell like 3 homes a year and we're financially good. Like that's us. So we don't mind. I don't care. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'd give them 10%. Like I immediately started with 10% per transaction. Well, but yes. Well, but it also shoots me in the back sometimes because I show up to listing presentations and I walk in talking myself down. Like I'm like, oh, are we okay with 2.5? Because I could do it at 2. And I do that. That's me. That's like whatever. I know. But back to we can give the salary, we can give the money. What's interesting is I don't want to pay a consistent salary. For me, it's easier for me to pay a bonus than it is for me to, because it's my mindset. My mindset is, and we have enough money to pay a person 5-year salary at $4,000. And I could set that aside. That's not a problem. But I just, in my head, I'm like, I feel like I would attract more quality people if I said $2,000 a month and 5% bonus. So your job is really to make me as successful as possible. You don't have to go meet clients for the most part, but if you figure out how to make me and my wife as successful as possible, you will be rich. And I will make you as rich as, I will make you a millionaire. Because that's what I freaking told my agents. And if everybody worked, they'd be millionaires. But like,
You may or may not attract. So you have to understand that there are different people. When you post that though, Jason, when you post that position, you've got people who are looking at like, there are going to be people who are like, I just need to know I have a set salary because I have bills to pay. Right. So you've got that to contend with.
Okay.
Like, they're like, I need to know with certainty that I'm earning this much because I have to pay my apartment bill or, whatever it is. So you have to kind of take that into consideration as well. Like if you're putting in the salary and you're saying it's $24,000 a year, you're never going to reach that person anyway.
Okay.
Right. So you've got to like think through that. And you've got to know that someone who's going to be able to do the math or do the consideration to be able to see far enough into the future that I have control over the situation enough. And not everybody's going to see that either. And they would have to have inside information into your business to know that they have that kind of control.
Sure.
To see it. So you're also limiting yourself by doing it that way.
Trust and find a loyal person and trust the person.
Yeah. So it's kind of a right now. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying that for someone to know, like, and look into it and for them to be like, well, I need to know all of the inner workings of your business for me to calculate that I would then be able to earn enough to make my own ends meet.
And what if if they're licensed, what if they have transactions? Are you expecting a piece of that? You know what I mean? How does that?
And that's why I don't care if they're licensed or not. That's why I was like, okay, if we license you under me, like if we license, then, and you want to do stuff, you still have to check in 9 to 5. You're still whatever's.
I don't let mine do transactions. There's a reason.
There we go. That's good.
I don't. It's because
and that's what I want. That's what I want. I want somebody. I just realized that I need frankly an intern that's just gonna follow me around and drive me around. I could get so much work done while I was driving instead of texting and driving, which I never do.
You're in Santa Barbara area?
I'm in between Santa Barbara and San Luis Obispo. Yes.
So are you like Santa Maria?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There isn't a school there in.
I was going to say, you should really check in with the schools.
Yes, there is Hancock, and there is that. Yes.
A college or a JC?
Yep, it's a college. It's a-
Okay.
So you're looking for an intern, interesting, and somebody who shadow you, learn from you, and
Get
then
like
you hire.
I mean, for a kid in college for the summer, I mean, especially while they're in school too, to do $2,000 a month
Oh.
and follow you around and take you
What
everywhere.
you just said is for a kid in college. I need somebody that's not in college.
Okay,
I need somebody that can dedicate time on a set schedule that says, I will be here from this time to this time, and I will do that. And they can be in college like later, but not like, oh, I'm a full-time college student.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to work around it.
you have to figure out who that avatar is and then how to reach them.
Yeah, your little.
All those dynamics that make up that avatar.
It's
Well,
not
you know-
impossible, Jason. It's not
Oh,
impossible.
no. I mean, this is, yeah.
I
Yeah.
just think okay, listen, I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you, it's super important for you to still be profitable. And I love the fact that you're this generous.
Yeah.
Okay, but at the same time, I want you to read the book Profit First. Okay, just go find that book and
I've
read
read that.
it. Okay, so go read that
I've
book.
read both of them, Profit Returns.
So it's important for you to get what you need, but it's also important for you to not throw money at the problem. Okay. And it's certainly possible to find someone to do all of these things and for it not to be that you're just throwing the money out there. There's someone who can do all of that stuff for you and do it affordably. I just think that first of all, let's just start with, I will find the contract and the job description. I'm going to send that to you because I think let's start there. And then let's start with like what that average person is making in and around your area. Go look on Glassdoor and like look up kind of what that person is making and kind of do that. Let's kind of get that built first on what that looks like. And let's build out every single thing you would want that person to do.
Yeah.
I do encourage that they be licensed. I don't let my admin staff sell. They have to refer everything into the business. Every time we've ever done it, they start getting pulled. Grass is greener on the other side. All of a sudden they start disappearing during office hours to show houses and do this, that, and the other thing. And then it's like, it gets complicated. And it's just like, nope, just refer it in. We give them a slightly higher referral fee.
I was gonna say, do a nice referral for their own.
Yeah, for their
Yeah,
own.
for the most part, I want and that's why I was thinking commission, like the bonus, but I understand and
Yeah.
I'll slow down.
Yeah.
Frankly, it's somebody that's gonna help our business grow.
Yeah.
Somebody that's part of our corporation.
Well, let's figure out what that could look like for you, like what we could tie a bonus to that they would be able to have direct control over, that you would feel like we could measure, that then that made sense, right? Because when we just bonus them and they don't actually have anything that we could say that they actually contributed to that's measurable, then they could literally sit there like bumps on a log and be earning 5% on something that they're not actually contributing to. So it's more important for us to find something that it's like, oh, all right, well, last month you helped me, follow up on these leads inside of KV Core or what, follow up boss or whatever it was, and as a result of that, we put 2 more into contract. Absolutely. 5% bonus. Take my money, please. Take my money, please. But we have to tie it to something because otherwise it doesn't make a lot of sense for you.
Okay.
So let's
It
start
just
there.
gives them enough motivation, what Jason is
Yeah.
looking for, enough
Yeah.
motivation to get out there, make things happen rather than be an office girl or boy, just do the admin jobs. And I
It's
think
carrot.
it's more exciting for them. That's why
Yeah.
it's doing. But 5 is too much. I mean, maybe 1%, start with 1%.
Well, we'll figure out what the carrot is later. Right now, let's start with like, what exactly, because that's going to help us build the job description. Like what exactly are they going to be doing? And then
You can tie the bonus to something.
yeah,
they
we
do.
can tie the bonus inside of there. Yeah, we'll figure out what it is. Let's start there. Okay, I have to go because I promised Casey I would get over there. Is anybody going to shareholders? Anybody?
Mm-mm.
I didn't even know what it was. I don't know.
Where
Sorry.
is it? Is it out of California?
It's in Orlando, EXP Shareholders Summit.
Oh, yeah.
know-
I saw it. Yeah.
Not too late. They're still selling tickets. Flights were like $200, by the way.
Are they really?
Yeah, it was like so cheap. I was shocked. I was like, holy moly.
Are you flying with them?
We're on different flights, but I'm going because Rick and I are going to a recruiting appointment, but I'm getting 3 certifications while there.
Yep.
You can get luxury without having to meet the monetary requirements. I'm getting luxury, REO, and affinity all while there. All 3 certifications. So, all right, I got a boogie. Thanks for today, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Fine.
Bye.